Inner Voice, a heartfelt chat with Dr. Foojan.
7 questions. These 7 questions are designed to break down the living moment so you can understand what's going on in the living moment. And I describe it kind of like this, like a submarine's underwater. It has no windows. It can't see where it's going. It has no clue. How does it not run into rocks and whales? The answer is sonar. It sends out a ping. That ping bounces off the thing and brings back information. That's essentially what the Stanislavski system does. You have these 7 questions, and anytime you walk into an environment, it's like sending out the ping. And here are the 7 questions, real quick.
Introducing a powerful new update from the Foojan app. Now with flexible subscription plans to fit your journey monthly, quarterly, or yearly. Our new AI-driven onboarding customizes your path to feeling better, faster, and enjoy a refreshed experience with stunning 3D interactive videos. Update now. Empower your inner voice with Foojan. Download today.
Welcome to the Inner Voice, a heartfelt chat podcast. I'm your host, Dr. Foojan Zeine, a psychotherapist, author, and the founder of the International Awareness Institute. So today, Jim Rojas Taylor is joining me. He's a first-generation American born and raised in New Jersey. For his first decade of his life, he moved to Alabama, which he has left and returned to a few times. Now, he served 6 years in the U.S. Marine Corps and found himself turned into an actor via unplanned voice lessons. And he spent over 20 years as an actor, and in that time, became a playwright, screenwriter, producer, and author. Now, among other roles in life taken on in his pursuit, the latest and foremost important venture is to get the idea behind his book, All Your Best Selves, to teach emotional and mental literacy to the world. He's taking it to schools, he's teaching it, and we have an amazing conversations together. So look at an angle from the acting world and how to become the best of you and bring out the best of yourself in every location that you are. I had a great conversation with him, and I'm sure you'll enjoy it. Now, be sure to subscribe to my podcast, this podcast, yes, and my YouTube channel, and connect with me through my website, FoojanZaine.com, any of my social media platforms. Go get the Foojan app. It's 3 days free. You can check it out. We've got 75% improvement in everybody's life as they're shared with us. And I'm sure you'll enjoy it also and, create an amazing life for yourself. Now, share your thoughts with me. I'd love to hear from you. Now, without further ado, here's Jim Taylor.
Listen up if you want to promote your personal growth and self-awareness. I found the Foojan app last month and I have been absolutely loving it. I personally have never learned guided meditation, but thanks to this app, I now have learned incredible tools for my own stress relief and emotional self-awareness. Not to mention, there are self-evaluation tools and professional coaching available to utilize however your journey to self-discovery takes you. Join Foojan today and redefine your life one step at a time.
Intentional Parenting, a practical guide to awareness integration theory, written by Dr. Jafari, Dr. Foojan Zeine, and Dr. Manoukian, 3 experts in human development, is your step-by-step guide to raising a healthy child prepared for a culturally integrated world. You're supported in parenting infants to adolescents using the latest evidence-based scientific research on parenting. Order your copy on Amazon now.
Well, James Taylor, it's so nice to have you.
I appreciate you having me. I appreciate your time. Thank you so much. It's great to meet you.
Great to meet you too. So you have an interesting background. You go from being a Marine to singing to acting to just who you are. So share with us about the journey.
Absolutely. I really can trace it all the way back to when I was 4 years old. When I was 4 years old, my parents took me to midnight mass, and for whatever reason, the priest's words hit me in a certain way, and it made me realize the concept of eternity. Though I didn't understand the scope of time, I understood that if there's no end, there could be no middle. If there's no middle, it's just a perpetual beginning. So like 10,000 eons from now, I'll still exist in some plane, and it freaked me out. So what it caused me to do was revert back into my mind, and I just instinctively started treating my mind like a supercomputer. I created these programs, which I referred to as suits and bubbles. My suits were just different versions of myself that basically anytime I met another human being, I would copy them as best I could mentally and emotionally through active listening and understanding. And I would recreate them as a version of me inside myself. My bubbles were like the holodeck in the Star Trek universe. They could be anytime, any place, anywhere. What I didn't realize at that young age was I was giving myself a proving ground to see how the world worked before I actually stepped through it. So I would create these situations in the imaginative to test them out before I actually stepped into them. This carried on throughout my life. I got into acting. I guess the first touch I got into acting was in high school. When I was a freshman, I got put in theater one class, but I only lasted 6 weeks before I got kicked out and put in ROTC. And I feel like that kind of pushed me towards the Marine Corps. So I did one tour in the Marine Corps, 6 years, 5 active, 1 reserve. And when I got out, I came back to my home of record. And at that point, I kind of tripped into acting. I was working in a Lone Star Steakhouse, and there was a couple girls over there rolling silverware with me, and one was talking about how hard her voice lessons were. And it's just I was just a dumb honorary Marine, I was young. So I kind of poked fun at her, telling her how hard are voice lessons. I'm a Marine. I've done real stuff. And she just shouted up and just got in not in a mean way, but she was defending herself. And she's like, I bet you couldn't handle 3 weeks, soldier boy. And then I took it as a challenge, and I'm like, oh yeah, I'm going to do 6 weeks. So I went and found a voice coach just to, prove her wrong, to defend my manhood, I guess. And I remember after the first voice lesson, I was just hooked by it. I forgot about the challenge because it was the way that the voice instructor handled me, the way he made me sound, and just the emotionality of it. And I remember he asked me, like, have you ever heard of Jesus Christ Superstar? And I was like, well, yeah, but I've never heard him called Superstar before. I had no idea it was in rock opera. And he kind of laughed at me, and in a pleasant way. He wasn't making fun of me. It was just like, it was amusing to him. So he wanted me to audition for the role of Judas Iscariot in the rock opera. It was a year away, so he trained me for it. And I did a bunch of bit parts, went in there, I got the part, and it was just an eye-opening experience. And I did about 30 different credits here in North Alabama for the first 2 years, and that propelled me to New York. So I went to New York, got more work up there. I wrote, produced, and performed my own play. I got a lead role in a SAG film. But it all kind of fell apart when my mentor kind of just took me down the wrong path. And it killed my momentum. So I found myself stuck back in Alabama, and I was struggling for a long time, but I started teaching this idea because I guess it happened in 2008. That's when I first came across the idea that I'm talking about. And it was through just a handshake, really, from another actor. And I kind of realized that there was something more to this acting thing that I was doing, because it's gotten to the point where if you think about what acting is now, if you look at the 2,500 years of acting history going back to the Greeks, the first 2,100 years are what people still think it is: pretending, masking, representation. The 300 years that followed, them oversimplifying, it moved towards naturalism, realism. But around the 1900s, with the advent of this gentleman named Konstantin Stanislavski, he made it more philosophical. It was about being and becoming someone else. So we've gotten to the point where we're teaching actors how to use real emotions in imaginary circumstances. We have them building real working mindsets for use on the stage. And I just got to the point where I'm like, why are we working so much harder to build imaginary people than real people? Because we don't have a mind and emotions for the stage and one for real life. These acting masters who created the tools, techniques that shape the marble that is the human mind, they work on everyone. So I started teaching it through the school systems, and I got a lot of good feedback on it. I just couldn't get paid. So that's when I came up with the idea to write the book that I wrote, All Your Best Selves, when I explain these tools and techniques, how they work in the acting world and how we can use them in everyday life. And that's kind of where I got to now.
It's fascinating because as I was listening to you, and I know that I've worked with a lot of actors, I'm a psychologist, a therapist. So I know that as I've worked with so many actors in bringing and becoming authentic about what part of themselves they were afraid to show, what part as it showed up, it was vulnerable, but to them, and they couldn't experience it to be powerful to show their vulnerability, but they would get so vulnerable that they would get disengaged, from the show that they were doing. So I definitely have experienced what you've shared from an acting position. But it was interesting as I was hearing you said as a child, you really created this phenomena for yourself where through active listening, like you would get out of yourself, in a sense. This is what I got from you. You would get out of yourself and kind of be out there to whomever that person was, and kind of like observe every angle that they had, and then to be able to mimic and bring who they were within inside of you, and create a, like you called it, a bubble. Like there's a bubble of this person that I observed and brought in, and then somehow you could keep these as unintegrated bubbles that are around, but then there's a part of each of these bubbles that you experience. It also adds to who you are, the self that is there. So you could disengage from the self and just be this bubble or the role, let's say, that you're acting. But there is a part of you that you're sharing that it comes in. But then there's also a part of that act that you're relearning and bringing back. So it's a constant growth of who you are as a self, which you're engaging with all these different angles of what you see out there, or the roles that you are now playing. But at one point, you used to just take any human being that was in front of you and look at them as someone, as a role that you could take whatever was going on in them and bring it in you. One of the things that I always said was, especially because I worked a lot with actors, I used to say to them, acting is becoming all these roles, and being a therapist is being and hearing all those roles. So, every client that shows up is the same thing. Is like, I let go, I get out of myself and completely get engaged with where they want to take me. They allow me, I have the privilege of them allowing me to go into their brain, into their body, into their system, and take me everywhere. And every time I have that opportunity, it adds to who I am, as they allow me to go within them and see who they are. And I'm hearing that's what you also do. You did it naturally, and then obviously you're also doing it in acting, and now you're teaching how to do this where you could expand who you are internally. Is that what I'm getting from you?
Pretty close. There's the only one misstep is the bubbles were the worlds. The suits were the different versions of me. And it's kind of like if I went to the beach, I wouldn't wear a tuxedo because it's not the appropriate, maybe for a wedding or something like that. So that's kind of where my book, All Yourselves, goes to. It goes against the idea of I'm going to be my best self. I'm going to grow my best self, because there's no best version of you that can fit in every circumstance. So with my suits, what I essentially did was create a wardrobe of different selves so that I can step in and out of. And I do agree. What you said was very close to it, because a lot of people said that, well, aren't I being inauthentic? Aren't I putting a mask on? And I'm like, no, that's what psychopaths and sociopaths do. They don't get deep enough. They just get the surface level to get this mask on their face. And going to what you said, yes, every time I gain a new suit, I'm becoming more. I'm growing myself. I'm growing my spirit. So I am the amalgamation of all of these suits that I created. So I'm not one of them, and I'm not the one that I am at this given circumstances. No matter what I do or where I am all of them together, and they give me insight in a way that most people don't have, because it's kind of like Dr. Joseph Levy Moreno's psychodrama, where he talked about how to, get in other people's minds. And he had that poem where it's like, I'm going to tear my eyes out and put them in yours. I'm going to tear your eyes out and put them in mine. It's the same thing on a spiritual level. I'm getting inside other people's heads because I'm taking the time to truly listen to who they are, to truly be vulnerable enough to let them come inside of me and show me what life looks like through their perspective. And that's how I grow. And like I said, once I realized that, I realized what I really tripped into was mental and emotional literacy. It's two new forms of literacy that we don't teach people, because it's like this. If we're at the point where we're teaching actors how to use real emotions in imaginary circumstances, why aren't we giving this knowledge, these tools and techniques to kids in elementary school before they hit adolescence? Because they go in blindly through adolescence, hit all these emotions, and we don't know what to do. But we don't look at these answers, because the sad truth is nobody looks to the theater kids for world-changing knowledge. And that's where this knowledge is,
Mm-hmm. So how do you take this into the curriculum of a school to show?
Well, I do it in courses. Like just to give you an example of an exercise, the Stanislavski system, it's 7 questions. These 7 questions are designed to break down the living moment so you can understand what's going on in the living moment. And I describe it kind of like this, like a submarine's underwater. It has no windows. It can't see where it's going. It has no clue. How does it not run into rocks and whales? The answer is sonar. It sends out a ping. That ping bounces off the thing and brings back information. That's essentially what the Stanislavski system does. You have these 7 questions. Anytime you walk into an environment, it's like sending out the ping. And here are the 7 questions real quick. And like I said, their job is to break down a moment. Number 1, who am I? This is the moment in relation to you. Number 2, where am I? This is the moment in relation to the environment. Number 3, when is it? This is the moment in relation to time. Number 4, what do I want? This is the moment in relation to purpose. Number 5, why do I want it? This is the moment in relation to desire. Number 6, how do I get it? This is the moment in relation to action. And number 7, what are the obstacles? What's in my way? And that's the moment in relation to obstacles. So you can see clearly, these are not just acting questions. These are life questions that people fail to ask. I mean, it blows my mind how many people I ask, like, well, what do you want? And they're like, I don't know. I never thought about it. And it's like, well, if you've never thought about it, why do you deserve it? How are you going to get it? So it's like, I'm just taking these tools and techniques and showing people you can use these for everyday life. And it's kind of clunky at first, asking 7 questions. But again, it speeds up. It's kind of like the first time we drove a car. At 16 years old, it's kind of clunky. It's fidgety. We don't know what we're doing. We're nervous. But at some point in time, most all of us have driven to somewhere we've driven all the time, and we don't remember the drive because that's the way the mind works.
So if you answer these 7 questions right now, based on being in a podcast with me, how would you answer those?
Absolutely. Well, first of all, who am I? What is my role right now? And, right now, my role is a messenger. I'm here to give out a message. So that locks me in, lets me know who I am right now. Where am I? The environment. I can say, yeah, I'm in my room, but I'm not really in my room. I'm here in a moment sharing it with you. I'm here sharing it with a professional who's listened actively to what I'm saying. So it allows me to know that my focus is in on you. I got cats running around, but my focus is not on them. Yeah. So it's like, lets me know where I'm at and what I'm doing. What time is it? Well, it's not just about like what time it is at the moment. It's kind of like if I'm about to get on the road before rush hour, or am I about to talk to you about something difficult before you had lunch, So it's letting me know what's going on in the time parameters of life and who we are as beings. What do I want? What is my purpose? My purpose is to get this message out so that people can see that there's more to us than what we are. How do I get it? It's the way I articulate myself, the way I speak, Am I rambling on like a fool, or am I making a point? So it's letting me in there. How do I get it? I get it by delivering this message clearly and speaking to you with, intent and showing you the passion that I have. Because I could talk all slow and just like that and nobody would hear it. But when I activate my passion and intensity, it allows me to deliver this message in a way where it's more receptive. And what's in my way? My internet connection can be in my way. Maybe my tech isn't working. So it's simple things. I mean, it's a very simplistic way of doing it, but that's kind of what we're talking about here. It's allowing you to ask all these questions, because if people don't ask these questions, they can miss things. It's like reading between the lines. So as an actor, it would be about seeing all the possible choices that I have to make the best possible choices to present the best version of me in that moment. But as human beings, exact same thing. Those are the same things. We're all playing a role. We all have purpose. We all have desires. But until we start asking those questions actively in the moment, we won't be able to get those across, because you can't reach into the past and change. It's already written. You can't reach into the future because it's too out. All we have is the living moment. So these 7 questions allow you to dissect the living moment, to understand what you are really doing and what all your possibilities and choices are.
Absolutely. Now, everyone, get this book, All Your Best Selves, how the Performing Arts Toolkit can help you thrive anytime, any place, and with anyone, by James Taylor, J.J.R. Taylor. And so you were sharing about how the emotional, the emotional angle also. So some of these questions the 7 questions that you said is a very mental questions, obviously you're looking at. You also shared about the emotional aspect, which you also took that not only as an actor, you really tap into that part of you and bring it out and really connect with that emotion and what kind of thought process do you have to have in order to ignite the connection of that of the emotion that comes out, and then also know how to release the emotion, express the emotion, and then at one point to shift from the emotion, to go from one emotion to another, or shift it because the next play is there. And we do this all day, right? Like you could be very emotional, but then, like you said, you got to go to the next scene, or in real life, you got to go to the next job or to the next concert, and you can't carry that emotion with you. So obviously from a psychotherapist, I have a lot to say about that, but I really, really am interested when you said you take this as a skill, as an actor, as a skill, and you can even do that with the voice, right? Like singers do that. That's what you do. You bring the melody, but you bring the emotion. I take some of those singing classes, and it's the same thing. Like, I'm going through the melody, and then my mentor or the teacher says, "Where's your emotion?" Like, I can't really experience your feeling. Can you put some feeling into these words versus just singing and reading, kind of like reading the words. So it's like tapping into that place, but also knowing how to shift it. What is your training and skills that comes also in this book, in allowing to tap in, express, or shift?
I got a couple different things to talk about on that. One, it's kind of like going to the gym, because the emotions are muscles that we work out. The more you use them, the stronger they grow. And to me, I refer to the emotional body as our soul, the human soul, because we already use that linguistics in a way. Going back to music, when we talk about music, that someone's passionate, like a jazz player up there, how do we refer to it? Oh man, that guy's got soul, man. He's got soul. Now think about a sociopath or a psychopath who has no feeling. How do we refer to him? Oh, they are soulless. So we use this vernacular already. But what I'm saying is, like, once we get into scene work, once we get into the point where we actively use them, and you use them by feeling them, you have to allow yourself to feel all of these emotions inside of you. And the more you feel them, the more they grow and develop themselves. Just like a gym, when you go out there and work out, you have to work out your technique. You can't just flop weights around all over the place, because you can hurt yourself. The same thing with emotions. You can't just run into rage and flail around in it. If you do, you can hurt yourself or someone else, whether it be your words, actions, or deeds. So by getting in there, using these tools and techniques and it's best working with someone else. That's why I teach in groups. So I can put 2 people opposite each other, put them in a scene, and generally put them in a scene that they deal with every day. What's your work environment like? What's going on in your life that you're having trouble with? And then we'll start the scene. We'll go through it in one emotional level, and then we'll stop, reset. Okay, change this and that so we can draw out a different emotion. So we're allowing them to feel, and the more they feel, just like with driving a car or anything else, it starts to become second nature, because you're growing and developing yourselves. It's kind of like when people tell you to practice swimming. It's difficult because you're using so many muscles you don't generally use. But after a while, when you do it regularly, you strengthen them, and now it's just easy. And you have, a superior skill than most others, because now you can emotionally regulate, and it grows your theory of mind as well.
Absolutely. Yes. You said it beautifully, in that the more that you have an allowance for the emotion to be felt, expressed in the safe way, and then the more that you learn how to express those verbally or non-verbally, and then see the points, the messages that are around there, and then utilize it, and then you could go ahead and shift. And like exactly like you said, it's same way with the singing. If you are utilizing these muscles, and learn how to go up and down and up and down, then it becomes in your it's like you're riding a horse. You know how to rein the horse going from right to the left, and you can actually move between emotions, between sounds, between these expressions authentically, because they are yours. You're not acting these emotions; they are your emotions, and you could really go from one to another as you practice. And the practice shows up first with allowing them in a safe place, in your own home environment, with people who you feel safe with. And then like you do that as a creation of a safe place in a course where people are coming together. It's safe for them and they can really express and go move from one angle to another, and that becomes their laboratory in a way to practice.
Absolutely. And we also have to fight against the genderization of emotions. It's kind of like when a woman feels angry or rageful, she's ugly, which is crazy. Or if a man tries to touch the softer emotions, he's effeminate or weak, because emotions are not masculine or feminine. They're human. And every human being has a right to feel the full array of emotions, because if you do, you become well-rounded. It's a holistic look of looking at your emotions. Because to me, the genderization of emotions has one purpose and one person only, and that's to control. Because you're putting people off balance. You're making women literally weaker because they can't handle they're not allowed to touch the stronger emotions. And you're making men weaker because they're constantly reckless because they're not dealing with the softer emotions. It destroys men's ability to communicate, to listen, to reach out. And it's like, this is not building a healthy society. Giving this full view of emotions and the ability to just control all of them by going through them, you're making people who are more emotionally and capably competent. And that's what we need to do, because that's what's going to help us move forward as a species.
Mm-hmm. Yes. Now, as you were also sharing, you said we can't be the best of ourselves. So, to me, when I say I want to be the best of myself, is more not from a behavioral or what you said at the outfit, the attire, or which I would say the attire is more how it expresses itself in the behaviors. What I always talked about when I'm saying to be the best of you is to really know the value, like pick certain value systems that you hold and create like the context of where you're coming from. The best of you comes from those value systems. And then, yes, adjust your behaviors to wherever the scenario is, right? But when I wanted you to share with me, when you say you really can't be the best of you, you really got to look at the same best doesn't work everywhere. What do you mean by that?
Well, I think it comes from what you said about the adjustment, because that's what most people don't get when they say, I'm going to be my best self. Like, that's what I've seen. It's like, this is myself. This is the best version of me, and the world's going to adapt to me. I think it's more to the point where you're talking about when I say you got to have different versions of yourself, that's where the adjustment comes in. So yes, you have all these values and all these things that are the foundational part of who you are, but who you are in the moment can adapt. It's like I wouldn't act the same way in front of my grandparents as I would as my friends in the bar. It's basically like code switching, except this is hyper code switching. This is code switching on a level that we haven't seen before, because code switching is generally, I don't mean in a disrespectful way, but it's superficial. It's like, I'm going to change myself just enough so that I can fit into this new environment. But I'm saying we can go much deeper than that, change who we are, not fundamentally, but throughout who we are in the moment. So when we get into this new moment, I can change myself and adapt myself for the moment, which I have control over, instead of trying to force the moment to change to fit my best self. So it's understanding. Go ahead.
What you're really saying, as I this is what I'm hearing from what you're saying, is that when you get fixated in you say, this is who I am, and that's just not accurate, because you're consistently changing, but you're not changing necessarily to what's in front of you. You're changing and you keep bringing yourself back saying that I'm fixed. I'm a fixed person, because you thought that there were a couple of things, a couple of behaviors that you did that it was pleasurable to you, you liked it, and in some instances gave you back rewards. So you said to yourself, this is the best of me, that's who I am, and then now I'm just going to show up everywhere, and if people don't like it, too bad, you're the one who has to adapt to me. And what you're sharing is that's just not accurate. Like you could be in that falsified space, but if you wanted to, the world changes, you're changing, and if you're not really watching in how you can adapt to what's outside of you, and then bring the best of who you are to the outside of you, then you're not going to succeed.
Yeah, you're cutting yourself short. It's kind of, again, going back to the tuxedo at the beach. If I'm wearing a tuxedo at the beach, I'm limiting myself to what I can do. But if I put on a swimsuit, now I can engage the beach the way it's maintained or meant to. I can, if I'm wearing a tuxedo, I'm not going to get a tan. If I'm wearing an expensive tuxedo, odds are I'm not going to get in the water. I'm probably going to take my shoes off, and then I could get the sand or some of the beach elements to damage the tuxedo. But if I change or adapt to the appropriate environment, now I can embrace the environment truly as it was meant to, and I can open up aspects of the environment to give me more and to bring more to the environment, as opposed to that mentality of, well, I'm just going to stay this, and you got to work your way around me. And that's the alpha male type thinking. And I don't agree with that being a good way of looking, because you're cutting yourself off from a number of options, maybe building relationships you're not going to build with that mentality. So by adapting yourself and changing what you have control over, the self, now you can engage the environment or the situation you're in and maximize the input and output.
Yeah, the theory I created, awareness integration, in the phase 5 of it, I talk about an intentional kind of mission statement where you create your own identity. And the same conversation that you're having in another angle, it showed up for me, which is, I say it as if you have a body. Imagine your body as a naked body. And then you could be the best of your naked body. Like you could be healthy, you could physically be healthy, you could do all the things that you could do where you don't have excess, fat, you have enough muscle that moves you forward. You have your enough posture. So you could do things for you that as a naked body where you're going to be your best, right? Which you feel good about yourself and you're in the movement and you're healthy and all of that. And, in that, I think I would say that would be the value systems. Like, you pick on value systems, which you say, that's who I am as a naked body. And then you open your closet and then say, oh, I'm going to go to the beach. What, bathing suit is probably best. Or I'm going to go to a wedding that, the suit or the tuxedo is the best. Or I'm going to go sleep. So I'm just going to put something comfortable where I can go to sleep, or I'm going to go to work and I'm going to do that. So there's in my world, there's a distinction between the self that I can also be the best, and then that self adapts itself into the environment that you move forward. Does that make sense?
Absolutely. I'm just I think to go on with your metaphor, it's the foundational self I agree with. It's just, but the clothes, all the wardrobe, even in the closet, that's still a part of you.
Yes. I'm choosing it. Yes. I'm the one who goes and chooses this kind of a clothes. Yes.
Yes. And that's what I'm trying to impart, because most people don't go to that level. They just focus on the naked self, and they're not really as interested in the wardrobe. And I'm saying the wardrobe is every bit as important as the naked self, because once it goes on to you, that is who you are. It's not just a suit you're wearing. It integrates into you.
Yes.
And it allows you to work with it and through it. And it changes the circumstances for you to fit that environment.
Absolutely. To bring it into real conversations from metaphor, you're absolutely right. Like you said, if I go to work and I act like you shared, I'm not going to, the way that I am with my buddies sitting in a bar and talking and reconnecting and all of that is very different than I'm going to go to work, or I'm going to go to my grandparents and sit there in a family setting. And if I superimpose these where I behave the same way, one way or the other, which is not appropriate, then I'm not going to have those opportunities because I'm not fitting myself into the culture of what I just got into. So I'm choosing a part of me with a part of outside and bringing them into an integration where I can, I can express myself into the world as it also expects me, or creates a culture of expression, right?
Yes, that's beautifully said. And it also allows you control on how the world sees you too, because you're presenting yourself in a way through this integration. Yes. So the way the suit you choose will affect on how people see you. So now you have a choice that can help make them see you the way you want to be seen. It's instead of like having them guess or make assumptions. So you're playing an active part in that.
Yes, absolutely. And it's interesting because a lot of us, I think all people, do have this worry or concern about how they're being seen. It's like, people are going to think that way. We all assume, and we have an assumption about how people see us. And part of what you're also saying is be accountable for how you want to be seen, and
Absolutely.
assess and look first. One of the things that you said, which is, again, you found it from childhood, which was interesting, and it shows up here the same way, is look outside to what it needs and what is out there, and then bring who you are and collaborate. So you're living out here versus coming from a fixed mind of I am who I am. This person is just going to show up everywhere exactly the same. And it doesn't mean that if I am adapting, watching, observing, looking first to what this environment needs, and then I can bring the part of me that can collaborate with this part, that's living in the moment and moving forward and integrating with the co-creating with the outside world, versus me being fixed and trying to just kind of attack the world to where it is, versus collaborate with the world.
Yes, very much so. And I think another aspect of these tools and techniques that's missed also is combating insecurity. Because if you think about it, in the acting world, we refer to insecurity as stage fright. How do you combat stage fright? You learn your beats, you learn your moments, you ask the questions, you figure out how the scene works. Well, translate that into the civilian world or the non-acting world. How would you combat insecurity? You learn your beats, you learn the moments, you ask the questions, you see the environment around you. So I look at the human being like an activity coloring book. The more you fill out within you, the more questions you answer, the more things you color in, it's going to make you secure in who you are. So it doesn't matter what environment you go in, you've pre-answered all these questions. So now instead of being insecure, you're going to have an understanding of the environment around you because you know you and you know how you work. So now you can just input the environment and you have somewhere a threshold of knowledge to meet the two.
Now, you brought a lot of what you've learned from the acting world into who you are today. What did you gain out of being a Marine, which you brought with you to today?
I think some of the things I gained out of Marines, and it helped me emphatically, was discipline, grit, the ability to understand a charge, because that's what's helping me the most. Because I'm not the hero this idea needs. I'm the hobo it has. I shouldn't be the one delivering this message. But once I tripped over it and realized no one else was bringing it, and as a Marine, it was like, this is a charge you've been given by life. Now you have to see it through. I mean, I could have just set it down and lived my own life and been happy, but the Marine in me wouldn't allow it. So it's like, if I wasn't a Marine, I may have not fulfilled this part of my destiny. I might have just walked away from it. So it gave me the honor and courage to pick up this weight that's so much heavy. I mean, it's incredibly heavy for me to lift because I'm essentially freaking a high school dropout. I mean, I got my degree, but I got it in a weird way. So I didn't go to college. I wasn't professionally trained. So I rely on the training I got in the Marine Corps to fight my way through hook and jab to get this message out. So that's kind of what I drew from the Marine Corps.
But you're also a student of life. And what you're saying is that I jump in, I experience, I put words into my experiences, and then I share. And then I have the passion to share it out loud, put the force around it, and bring it to where I think it's needed to be.
Absolutely.
Where are you going from here?
I am working on my second book. It's going to be called the Me Literacy Project for Mental and Emotional, because I feel like rebranding it makes it a little clearer. Because when I wrote my first book, I didn't really understand what I had. It wasn't until I started doing podcast interviews this last February. So it's only been a few months, but it was like maybe 3 podcasts in where I realized what I'm actually presenting is mental and emotional literacy. I mean, I started this in 2008. It took till 2025 before I realized it was mental and emotional literacy. So that's where I'm going now. I'm starting to teach again. So I'm working with the Launchpad in Athens, Alabama, I just wrote a business proposal to teach this to entrepreneurs, to teach them how to gain mental and emotional literacy to be better at entrepreneurs, because it's a hard thing to be an entrepreneur. So I'm going to show them these tools and techniques to how they can reinforce themselves, make themselves more robust. And once they learn it, they can teach them to their employees to make their employees better employees. So that's where I'm moving right now.
Awesome. Where can people find you?
I have a website right now. It's www.tbcenterprises.com, and that's TBC like Tango Bravo Charlie. You can check me out on social media under Soy Candy. It's SOICANDIE. And you can get my book on Amazon right now. It's the only place I have it because I'm still learning all the beats. I didn't know how to publish really well. So it's on Amazon in paperback and Kindle version.
Beautiful. Everybody, go get this book. All Your Best Selves, how the Performing Arts Toolkit can help you thrive anytime, any place, with anyone, by James Taylor. It was great to have you.
Oh, thank you for having me. I appreciate it so much, Doctor. I mean, it's been a lovely conversation.
Same here. And for all of you who are out there, create an amazing life for yourself and everyone around you. And until next week, bye-bye.
Are you a psychotherapist looking to enhance your practice? The Awareness Integration Therapy developed by Dr. Foojan Zeine is a comprehensive guide to the principle and techniques of this powerful therapeutic approach. Join the growing community who have elevated their practice and expanded their skills by embracing Awareness Integration Therapy and witnessing its life-changing impact. Order your copy on Amazon now.